That's what we are in this industry as innovators. And what I want to talk about is this prioritization of water management strategies, because it happens on a very small scale and it can happen on a very large scale. And so far this afternoon, I think you've heard that story. The way we see water conservation utilizes this reduce, reuse, and replenish. Everybody's familiar with reducing and reusing. Replenishing, the governor's office speaker today mentioned it, and several others. Our groundwater is our biggest resource. And so what we need to do is make sure we're putting water back in the ground. Surface water reservoirs are necessary. I'm a civil engineer. I love the environment, but I love dams. But there's more storage that happens in the ground. And so we need projects that on small scale and large scale put water back in the ground and put clean water back in the ground that we can all utilize. You've seen these numbers. Most people talked about it on how many gallons per year a house uses, but you know, the home building industry, all of you sitting in this room, all of us working here, have done an incredible job over the last 35 years to cut 50%, to go from 60 gallons a day per person to 30 gallons a day per person. That's a significant reduction. And so the question is there more room? Can we reduce that? Can we reduce that more? And the answer is yes, but at what cost? Both in terms of dollars cost, but also quality of life cost. We think the answer is yes. There's ways to reduce more water usage. Laundry was mentioned earlier. In utilizing today's numbers of how much water you can use in a home, roughly 17% of that water is used for laundry. And that's the second largest user, just sort of across the board in California in homes. One of the things that can be done is utilizing the advanced laundry appliances, but also having a designed room specifically for laundry to make sure that the consumer understands full loads are more efficient, and to have storage built in and educational room built in to a home that allows laundry facilities to be maximum efficiency, and you'll see a significant reduction in water demand from laundry use. The first largest, so roughly 40% of the water in today's, following the updated governor standard, roughly 40% of the water used in a home is for showers. The one thing that really hasn't been addressed in most homes is you turn on the faucet and you have to wait a minute or so for the water to be hot enough to want to get in. Well, you can either decide you're going to learn how to take a cold shower, or you're going to figure out a better solution. And there are answers today to that. Recirculation systems, but not constant recirculation systems. On-demand recirculation system, and there are these available. They're just not predominantly used in production, in new home construction. But you would walk up to your shower, and instead of turning on the faucet, you press a button that says, "I'm ready to take a shower." The green light comes on, you're ready to go. There's hot water as soon as you step in. It can be accomplished through circulation. It can be accomplished through satellite tankless water heaters. So that's something that is a change that can be adopted into home building to significantly reduce the amount of water used and provide an enhanced quality of life. That you don't have to take a shorter shower. You can use the same amount of water and have it be warm water from the beginning of the shower. Jacob touched on this, and this idea of a smart water home. With our mobile devices, we can now close our garage doors if we forgot to close them. We can turn on our air conditioner. We can record the latest episode of whatever show we want to watch. But very few people can see what's going on in their house in terms of water. And there's a quote that I saw that which is measured is improved. And it doesn't matter whether we're trying to get our half marathon time down to less than 2 hours, or we're trying to lose weight, or we're trying to manage our businesses to a profit, or we're trying to reduce the amount of water that we use in our home. If we can measure it, if we can get feedback, we can understand how to be better with it. And so it's not being widely used, but it's something that is available today. There's very low-cost sensors that would go at each place where water is used in a home, whether it's a sink, a toilet, a shower, and they can be identified. Computers today are amazing in being able to take minor changes in vibration and send that signal, and you would know, okay, it's faucet number 6 in the house. And so if you have teenagers and children like I do, I could tell my child, you took a 15-minute shower. That's not acceptable. An 8-minute shower is plenty enough. So this is something that I think we're going to see in the future, and it'll make a significant difference in how much water we use, and that we are smart about how we use water. The other thing that you see throughout statistics say that 10 to 15% of water that's used inside a home is actually wasted in one way or another. Not necessarily say it's a pipe leak, but it might be we all have toilets that run and jiggle the handle and they stop running. And this way you would actually know if it's leaking, because the sensor would tell you there's a long, slow release of water when it should be stop and start, stop and start. You could even go as far as to say, for homeowners insurance, you could probably reduce your homeowners insurance policy. I don't know how many people have had their go away on vacation and come back and there be a water leak in their home. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to quite a few of you. If you had a way that the sensor picked up on that and shut the valve for the water off to your home, you could eliminate larger insurance repair costs. So there are benefits beyond just saving water. This is not a new concept. Rainwater harvesting, in the desert Southwest where we live, we get very little rain. You'd have to have a huge amount of storage to be able to use that throughout the year. But one of the things that we've been able to do on a little larger scale, so it's not at the in-home scale, but it's more at the community scale, is layering a couple of infrastructure solutions where you have parking lots, you have impervious area where, from a stormwater quality perspective, you need to treat that water. Well, in addition to treating the water, what you can do, a lot of these treatment systems are under parking lots, and they're large diameter pipe systems, and they allow the water to percolate into the ground or be treated slowly and discharged. What we've done in some cases here is actually increase the storage capacity by lining that, so almost you have an underground lake. And so the pipes provide 100% storage, but then you have gravel around it. The gravel pore space also, when you get a lot of stormwater runoff, you can capture that volume, and then you can use that water for irrigation over time. And that becomes a more cost-effective system than trying to do it on an individual home basis. Speaking really hard about multi-functioning infrastructure, there was a project in South Orange County that we worked on recently, and the project's been in operation for several months now. It started as a flood control project. We need development, rooftops, pavement, increases the volume of runoff. You have to build a basin to attenuate that. Well, we said that's a single purpose basin. And there's so many other opportunities for us to reach out and actually capture, because a large portion of this watershed has developed urban area, and there's dry weather runoff from that urbanized area. Collecting that dry weather runoff, being able to use it, so it's a water quality improvement, you're able to use that dry weather runoff for irrigation, and then going back to my original comment of recharge. We need to replenish the ground, so create spreading basins and recharge the groundwater. And then there's obviously recreational opportunities and ecological habitat enhancement there. So you can take one piece of infrastructure and it can provide multiple solutions for the development. There's a case study here that we're looking at, and it was mentioned earlier with these rebates and taking you go into a city and you're gonna do a project, 200 homes. How do you have a zero net water demand? How do you do that? If it's an existing city, there's probably lots of homes that were built before 1980 or even after 1980. There could be privately funded rebate programs. Those rebate programs probably also can be supported by Prop 1. And by virtue of your new project coming in, you can offset all the water you're going to use. You create a rebate program that offsets, and we all get, so the community doesn't use any more water, but your project is there now and it wasn't there before. And everybody's being more water wise, more water conscious. On a much larger scale, both Jacob and Don talked about in-home gray water systems. And clearly there's much opportunity, whether it's to irrigate landscaping or whether it's for use in flushing toilets. But looking at it more on a regional level, what's being done, there's projects in Fresno, in Pacific Grove, and in dozens of cities in Arizona, where there are these satellite wastewater facilities and there are recycling facilities. So they would be located, if it's a new project coming in, or there's just a large expanse of existing need for recycled wastewater that can be used for irrigation. You can optimize the design of a wastewater facility to have a very small footprint. It's completely covered, so you don't have the odor concerns. You're able to supply wastewater for your own community, treatment, and the recycled water back. So again, we're not just using the water one time, we're using the water multiple times. And that's, so this idea of being able to have localized reuse facilities located in areas where you have the greatest demands. And these can be done, anywhere from 500 homes to 50,000 homes. I mean, it's something that is scalable in today's environment and can be cost effective. I think one of the last things that I really wanted to talk about today is the whole idea of recycled water. And Don, you mentioned that you're still getting some pushback. I tell you, I pray for the drought to be over, but one of the good things about the drought is that it really has made all of us more aware of the value of water. And given today's technology and the science that's available to us, we know we can clean the water up and it can be safe for reuse. And this idea of not wanting to reuse the water, we definitely have to change that. That's still around. We need to keep talking about it, and we need to change that perception, because all the water that we get, most of it is going to go through the wastewater system, particularly now with the reduced amount of turf that's going to be out there and available. So you really are in a position to be able to use the water multiple times. So it's not just a once and discharge. It's a possibility of reusing the water multiple times. And somebody said, if all else fails, order sparklets.